Now I know what you're thinking. But Sonic Forces levels aren't that bad. Now I never said the levels in Sonic Forces are bad, don't get me wrong. In fact, I don't think they're bad. But I think they're kinda mediocre. So I'm not saying they're bad, no, but I'm not saying they're good either. So here I'm gonna showcase a level from Sonic Generations, Rooftop Run, which kinda reminds me of Sunset Heights, which is why I picked it. And while I'm comparing it to Sunset Heights, because, well, it is the level, after all, that is most similar to Sunset Heights in terms of general theme. So yeah, so I'm gonna compare these two levels and show you what Sonic Generations does that Sonic Forces doesn't. So here we have Sunset Heights from Sonic Forces. Basically you're running down this little hill thing and then running up, and then you're basically just boosting. Of course you don't have to, but it is usually what people do. And then, yeah, you've just been boosting for quite a while. Now let's look at Rooftop Run from Sonic Generations. So as you can see, you run through this hallway, then you grind, and then you go through that ring, then you do some platforming, and then you know, go this way, and then there's a grind you can do again. And yeah, so you can see already at the beginning, there's a lot of variety. Like, there's just stuff actually happening, you know? You're not just boosting or running and running, you're actually doing stuff. Going back to Sunset Heights, you're still running, and then you're homing attacking into enemies, and then you're running, and then you're homing attacking to enemies still, and there is pretty much a lot of button pressing, so it's very much limited in terms of controls. And as you can see, the level continues on. And the level continues on with being very straightforward in terms of controls and in terms of how you have to handle the controller and all that stuff, because you're basically just running, forward, and you jump every now and then and kind of homing attack into enemies every now and then, but that's about it. And yeah, sure, there's some subtle game mechanics changes in between all of this, and it's kind of nice to see that, but they don't do much, because they only last for a couple of seconds, and they don't really change the philosophy of the general structure, because after they're over, you're still running, and, you know, it's getting old at this point to re-explain the rest. Meanwhile, in Rooftop Run, you glide, you homing attack into enemies, but from a rather different angle, and then you need to platform about as you speed through the level, and yeah, there's some more variety, there's more stuff going on, as you can see. So the key thing here is that there's more variety. Sure, you're still running and you're still homing attacking, but there's grinding, there is mixed in with some more platforming, and you can clearly see that there's some more hazards in the way. So there's more things going on, which makes things far more interesting, in my opinion, and many others, which is why a lot of people like Generations level design a whole lot more. Meanwhile, in Forces, you go through this loop-de-loop, which gives a little spectacle moment, and then you keep running in a 2D section, and then you jump, and then you know, basically avoid more hazards, and you do more platforming stuff. So there's a little bit more variety suddenly in Sonic Forces. Meanwhile, in Generations, the variety was already there very early on. And basically after some hazard and, well, platform doing, you run, and then go through this little spectacle. It's a new one, not the previous one, and then you continue on with avoiding hazards, and then you run through enemies. And yeah, there's more stuff going on, you're going more back and forth, but it's still rather straightforward in terms of general structure like before, but there's still more variety compared to the beginning of the level. And yeah, just like that, the level comes to an end. And yeah, there was some variety towards the end of Sunset Heights, but it's not nearly as good as it was in Sonic Generations Rooftop Run. Because generally in Rooftop Run, there's way more stuff going on, there's way more stuff happening, you know, compared to Forces. So that's why a lot of people compare it to, you know, Forces type of level design. And the ironic thing is that, Sonic Generations level isn't even over, and it continues on with variety. Starting where we left off, you're basically dodging these kind of spike ball things, and you're going right and left, and then you're doing this little flips again in the air. Then you're going through breaking these glasses, and you're doing more platforming, but it combines with speed and harmony. Then you're going 2D, then you're doing the parkour thing, or well, wall jump, sorry. Yeah, wall jump, and then you're basically, see, a lot of stuff is happening, a lot of stuff. And this spectacle is very satisfying because unlike in Forces, a lot of stuff happened before the spectacle itself. A lot of stuff built up to that spectacle, so it feels more satisfying to actually go through that spectacle. Then another spectacle comes, and it just feels satisfying as well, because it feels like you actually deserved it, you actually deserved to see it. While in Forces you were basically just doing the same thing over and over again for a good while, and then you got spectacle after spectacle, and not a lot happened. And even when, you know, slight variation happened in Force's level design, and, you know, before the spectacle itself, it was still not enough to really just, you know, make it feel like it still paid off. Well, in Generations, there's way more of a, you know, general payoff in terms of getting to the spectacle. And yeah, I'm self-aware of that. The level design is still playing even as I'm talking, but you know what? I don't care. I think I've proved my point. And you know, there's nothing more to say really. The level just continues, and yeah, it's about to end, to be honest, but as you could have seen, it was easily longer than the level in, you know, Sonic Forces. Now, I don't want to give the idea that the length is the only problem with Sonic Forces level design, because that's far from it. In fact, there's a lot more into it, like I showed in this video. It's about the general ambition put into the levels themselves. It's not just about the length itself, it's also about the way the levels were designed to keep the level pumped. And this is my main issue with IGN's review of Sonic Forces. To be honest, that review wasn't that bad, especially compared to IGN's other reviews, but it didn't, you know, truly explain that the levels didn't have that form of ambition like in Generations. It just explained that the problem was that they were too short, which isn't the only problem. It's in fact far from it, like I showed in this video. Yeah, time for me to wrap it all up. So, thank you guys so much for watching the video. I hope you have a wonderful day. Make sure to comment below what you thought about this video, if you haven't already. And, yeah, make sure to subscribe if you want to follow me. And make sure to hit that bell next to subscribe, so that you can, you know, get truly fully notified whenever I upload a new video. You know, full notifications. I don't think notified is a real word, English word. Anyways, I hope you have a wonderful day, and take care.